The right has worked to refashion the nation in their image, without any concern that elected representatives could be removed from office by the people. America's anti-democratic slide is the product of a deliberate, long-term, and extraordinarily patient strategy, some of it behind closed doors, though much of it in plain sight. America's founders long fretted about a tyranny of the majority. Our Constitution established a representative democracy with a robust system of checks and balances, and a federal government with 3 co-equal branches, all designed to guard against excessive partisanship and factionalism. James Madison, writing in number 10 of the Federalist Papers, suggested this decentralized approach created a happy combination of majority rule with minority protections. Alexander Hamilton, in Federalist 21, suggested that elections would ensure that representatives followed the will of the people. The natural cure for an ill administration in a popular or representative constitution, he wrote, is a change of men. But even elections have proven no match for the right's anti-democratic tyranny of the minority. There are 2 visions of the nation the white male founders created. In one, best exemplified by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s description of a moral arc that's long but ever bending toward justice, America first guaranteed the vote to wealthy men. But after a civil war, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution that launched Reconstruction, a civil rights movement, women's suffrage, and the Voting Rights Act, VRA, that vision slowly guaranteed a more perfect union where men and women of all races and backgrounds were created equal. The second, darker vision suggests that every step forward arrived with a backlash, that the Reconstruction dream, for example, was smothered by a Supreme Court overeager to assert that the nation had changed, and equality had been achieved, and, in a series of cases in the 1870s, all but guaranteed the brutal century of Jim Crow that stood until the passage of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. This precarious moment of American history has been fueled by similar folly by the Supreme Court and similar unease with multiracial democracy. Those federal protections within the VRA had been hard won. The brutal pillars of Jim Crow rule held strong in the former Confederacy before mass protest and principled resistance among disenfranchised black citizens finally made the necessity and urgency of its passage undeniable on what should have marked a centennial of freedom. The regime of post-bellum segregation instituted racial terror in the heart of the modern South. With a century of violence, lynchings, poll taxes, and literacy tests that derailed the post-Civil War dream of Reconstruction. Medgar Evers, John Lewis, Jimmy Lee Jackson, Lamar Smith, and countless other marchers and foot soldiers had wrested the promise of racial justice back from a federally sanctioned system of apartheid with blood or pieces of scalp left behind on Selma's Edmund Pettus Bridge. They were gunned down by whites in broad daylight, on sunlit courthouse greens, in their homes, before frightened families. They were murdered by state troopers, faced clubs and fire hoses, tear gas and attack dogs, all for asserting their most fundamental right across southern cities and small towns, and to ensure it would never happen again in these most stubborn and resistant localities, where neither local officials nor judges could be trusted. The Voting Rights Act required the most horrific offenders, those who met the idea of equality with clubs and guns and dogs, to pre-approve any changes to election laws or voting procedures with the Department of Justice or a federal court in Washington, D.C. After the 1965 Voting Rights Act finally